everyone, today I've got my WandaVision Episode 3 Disney Plus review. Color me wonderful. This episode has now transitioned to a whole new decade. Does it still tickle you pink? Or do you want to turn this show off completely? So, as far as the story goes, bringing on the 60s couldn't have been a more far out idea, especially when this episode is inspired by the Brady Bunch. I really enjoyed that show, so to see that being incorporated here, I felt like it really fit very well. And this episode starts off to get the ball rolling with what is happening in Wanda and Vision's lives, and that is because at the end of episode 2, Wanda found out that she was pregnant, but now this time, throughout the episode, her pregnancy is being sped up for whatever reason. I don't know if it has to do with just that's how it works in shows, or it's a bit of magic going on where she gets to see her kids sooner and not have to wait 9 months, but it was a bit of foreshadowing with that in the first 2 episodes when they were sort of talking about, kids eventually coming into the picture, but now are the babies going to be vulnerable as well as Wanda and Vision? I think seeing Wanda on this journey was just pretty incredible as well as believable. Now, speaking of which, as far as the casting goes, Elizabeth Olsen's Wanda, I think this time around is, showing that she can be a really good mother figure. She's very protective, and as she gives birth to not only one baby, but 2, and I'm talking about twins, though the lead up to that moment was nerve-wracking yet hilarious because she has these scenes where it's sort of, realistically describing how you feel during pregnancy, and then Paul Bettany as Vision, being the soon-to-be dad, I feel like, just added to that, perfection with the way that the scene was, choreographed, and seeing his eventual reaction to when the babies are born, I thought was really nice because he's not exactly human, so how the heck did they end up, procreating all together? I mean, it's just pretty crazy. But if it was in the comics, that's totally cool too. And there is another character that I actually failed to mention being in the first 2 episodes, and that is the character of Geraldine. And she definitely has some kind of agenda, because after she said Vision was killed by Ultron, and the mood completely shifted, and Wanda is like about to go off the deep end, and it has me a bit worried for Geraldine. And seeing that Wanda recognizes a certain sword necklace that Geraldine is wearing, and it could be a reference to the organization sword, which had been sort of featured here and there in the past couple of episodes. It was actually featured on the uniform of the beekeeper in episode 2, and it struck a nerve with Wanda because as soon as her Sokovian accent slips out, that rarely happened. She was speaking perfect English, and then all of a sudden she's about to blow a gasket, and then Catherine Hahn, of course, shows up once again in a short scene, and she seems to know that something's, weird is going on. She's trying to convince this other neighbor, about something, and trying not to say anything, but doesn't really want to fess up, anything. So it's so aggravating, but it's, so crazy at the same time. And if the theories of who, her character really is are correct, that riding away on a bicycle with a basket in front is totally Wizard of Oz-esque. Now, the things that I liked about this episode was that it was charming. Probably because I have a soft spot for the Brady Bunch, like I said, and those elements really shine through. It was funny. Of course, I loved every minute of the dialogue, and the characters' actions were very fitting with the time period and elevated the chemistry that Wanda and Vision have. And the comedic timing was on point, like when Wanda's water seemingly breaks, but it affects the whole neighborhood, and the visuals were magical and, you know, fit with, you know, the show perfectly, and how it is really centered around this sort of, you know, magical powers. And that was happening during the setting up the nursery scene. And also something went glitchy, and I swear I thought it was my TV when I was watching this, because I mean, it was sort of weird, so I'm wondering if that's going to end up happening more than once throughout the series. And when Wanda talks about her brother Pietro, aka Quicksilver from Avengers Age of Ultron, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, it almost brought a tear to my eye, because I really wish we saw more of his character in the MCU, and there is something that the neighbors are not telling us, and they're concerned about who Geraldine really is, because she doesn't seem like she's one of them. And when it shows what happens to the character of Geraldine, who, by the way, is actually Monica Rambeau from Captain Marvel, is, you know, really living in some outside world, unlike the world of WandaVision. So I was really impressed with, you know, seeing these big, huge reveals on that. So now she's sort of, you know, trying to act like Wanda's friend, and was there during the birth of her babies, and oh, it was so crazy. I still can't stop thinking about it. So overall, I would say that I was really impressed with this episode, and I'm hoping to see more mystery and magic and craziness from here on out. So I would highly recommend seeing this episode. I feel like it still holds up with the first 2 episodes, so I would give this 5 hearts on the heart rate scale. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought of WandaVision episode 3, and as always, you guys can subscribe to my channel. I've got movie reviews, movie updates, come back every week for a Child Thursday video. You guys can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you guys later.